insulted me. Well, I won't respond to those who insult me because I don't have anything to say to those who do not engage in a civil discussion. Because each time you start insulting during a conversation, you have admitted that you are an empty head with nothing constructive to submit. Mm-hmm. In a civilized world, we must be able to speak, even to debate with each other without insulting each other. Because in that teaching I was giving, I was not insulting anyone. Mm-hmm. Number one. Number two, that teaching was not for the whole world. Mm-hmm. I was teaching our people, yes, the ones who are consuming the kingdom message, that God does not want princes to take the job of birthing old people as a profession. Princes do not take any job available. And this is why we gave them 2 years. Come out. And I said there's nothing wrong in doing any job at all. What is wrong is doing it for a lifetime. Yes. When it takes away your dignity and your peace of mind. But that teaching could well be useful to everyone, even those who are not our members. Yes. Even those who do not attend our church. If they are sound-minded, they wouldn't have found it offensive. Now, let me speak to you on scientific studies, which you can verify if you just spare a few minutes to research on the internet. Now, most of our people who are working in these social worker jobs, they did not receive enough training on how to psychologically and emotionally manage themselves as they take care of people suffering from terminal illnesses, mental illnesses, emotionally draining illnesses. We see videos where some of our brothers and sisters, while they're taking care of elderly white people, these patients are sick, we sympathize with them, but they are also, in that sickness, they don't see black people as equally respectable and decent people like themselves. Go and look at how a white caregiver is treated by the patients versus how a black caregiver is treated by the same patient. They don't treat them the same. Yes. They are sick, but they are still racist in their mind. They are racist, sick people. Yes. They spit on our brothers and sisters while they are trying to feed them. Some of them lie. This caregiver has beaten me, and our people are always afraid. They are always being investigated. Complaints are lodged after complaints. And when they don't want to pay them salaries, they fabricate allegations to send our sisters home without giving them salaries. There are so many complaints. But to cut the long issue short, the job of caregiving is not a decent job. Yes. It doesn't matter how much money you are getting. No, it's not. It's not a decent job. Because scientific study says there is a transmission of trauma from the sick people to the caregivers. Their caregivers, they no longer live a normal life after spending 8 hours attending to a person suffering from dementia. And the trauma is mostly coming because our people are not attending the same patient at the same time. They are attending different patients because life is expensive in the UK. In order for you to make a good money at the end of each month, after clocking on this shift, you go to another shift. Some even do 3 shifts per day. And in those 3 shifts, you are dealing with different patients. This one is suffering from dementia. Someone is suffering from mental illness. The other one is suffering from Parkinson's disease. So your emotions are not built to shift from this patient to the other patient to the other patient. At the end of the day, these people are paying the price of the PTSD coming from these jobs. And this is why families of these social workers are breaking like confetti.
Yes.
7 out of 10 couples that relocate from Zimbabwe, from Nigeria, from Zambia, from Ghana to the UK, they are divorcing in the first 3 years of their settling in the UK.
Yes.
So you are exchanging your family for the British pounds and the euros. Now, if you are not wise, you think that by getting some money, which you didn't get when you were in Zimbabwe, you are improving your life. But there's no more life to improve if you lose your marriage because of a job. Unless you are a prostitute, you think a job is more important than your marriage. Wait until you turn 55. At that age, that man will cease to make a lot of sense to you. You realize that family is more important than money. All right?
Yes.
So when we speak like this, we are not here to pick up a fight with our brothers and sisters. There is nobody who loves you like I do. It hurts me to see you. Some of our people were teachers. Some of our people were registered nurses. Some of our people worked in the military. Some of our people worked in the catering industry. They had to do a short course to become a social worker, a caregiver. Changing diapers on adult-aged people whom you do not know. They are not related to you. Such a job is meant for people who are emotionally connected to the patient. That's how God designed the family.
Yes.
When you get sick to a level where you are now incontinent, you don't need a nurse aide. You need a sister to take care of you.
Yes.
That's what family is all about. The British are rejecting the God's idea of a family.
Yes.
They are using money to bridge the gap of a broken family. They are now putting a stranger into their homes. Take care of my old mother. I will pay you money. God designed the family to be such a way that when your child is growing up, you change their diapers. But when you are grown too old yourself and things are bad and you don't have sisters to take care of you, your own daughter can take care of those issues. That's what family is all about. So Africans do not realize that we are probably one of the few left continents with actually functional families.
Yes.
The British, they talked a lot of rubbish about civilization until they have built the old people's homes where their fathers and mothers, when they grow old, they die alone in the people's home. The other son is in Middlesbrough. The other one is in Petersburg. The other one is in Essex. They visit an old father at the old age home once a month. And when the man dies, they say, cremate his remains and will come and collect his ashes. They can't even conduct a decent family for the one who beget them. And what are we doing now? As Africans, we are available to their disposal. Use us for any job available. We are so broke, our economies are broke, our politics is toxic. We can't deal with our own problems at home. Any job is good, provided you pay me. So throughout the whole day, this woman is changing the diapers of an old man. When she knocks off, she comes home to take care of her husband. How do you expect her to switch her mind from the horror she spent the whole day watching to be a romantic wife, ready to enjoy a peaceful life with her husband? That's where the fighting starts.
Yes.
And that's where the drinking of alcohol among African women is starting. Before you know it, there are broken marriages.
Yes.
But wait a minute. "26 years ago, in 1998, Mugabe came up with an idea. Let's kick the British out of Zimbabwe so that we can have a black economy for the black people who take the farms, go back to England, keep your England, I'll keep my Zimbabwe." So we supported Mr. Mugabe to send back all the white people to England. Now, the British who colonized us, our colonialism took place in the year 1890, about 6 years after the Berlin Conference, in which the scramble for Africa idea was hatched by Europe in 1884. The people who came to colonize Africa were not great, rich people. They were social rejects in Britain.
Yes.
Some of them had been laid off from their jobs because of retrenchments that came into those countries due to economic depressions.
Yes.
Some of them were ex-convicts who could not get jobs because they had just come out of prison. Some of them were street kids. They are the men who marched behind a Union Jack in the pioneer column. They were jobless in England, but when they arrived in Zimbabwe, they became the boss and the madam. By just traveling a short distance from Britain to Zimbabwe, a social reject became a farm owner with 500 blacks working in his farms. And when we said we woke up from ignorance, we kicked these rejects back to England. And 20 years later, we are now seeking for a visa to go and resume our servitude. Please, Mr. White Man, we can't live without you. We kicked you out of our country. We are back again. Employ us. Don't mind the political fools who speak a lot of political rhetoric but not corroborated with any constructive action. So we are going to remain servants of the British. For how long? They came to Zimbabwe. They employed us as mine workers, farm workers.
Oh, one of my hands.
We kicked them back to England. Now we are following there. They are now too old. The same people whom we kicked away from Zimbabwe, they are the same old people. You are going to bath in England. The white men who were in Centenary, in Concession, in Banket, in Chinoi, in Mutoko, in Odds, in Rusape, in Penalonga. They are the same people whose bodies you are washing. You are calling that a green pasture. We kicked them out. We said we don't want them. We want to start building our country. Did we build our country? We didn't. We are following behind them. Boss, please wait for me. Who are you? Well, I used to be a farm laborer. I went to school. Now I will bath your body. Just give me any amount you have. But you chased me from your country. Don't mind him. He was a stupid president. You don't know what has become your mind, your farm, boss. Your farm has become a brick molding industry. The trees you planted, we sold all of them for firewood. Now we are now picking wild mushrooms every summer season. That's the only farming we are doing. So there's nothing at home. Please employ us. After the devastation of the German economy in the aftermath of the First World War, which ended in around 1919, Germany was so war-torn that there was a fear that there was never going to be the state of Germany after that. But the politicians in Germany sat down and agreed that we will build Germany again.
Yes.
So many people slept in demolished warehouses. There was no home for them. Not for 1 week, not for months, but for years.
Yes.
They focused on rebuilding industries. And as we sit here today, Germany is one of the richest countries in the world. And if you learn anything about Germany, there's something unique about Germany which we have never learned in Africa. Germans don't go out of Germany looking for jobs. That's their philosophy. Germans prefer to get a lower salary in Germany than to go overseas for a higher paying job. They love their homeland such that they are willing to go through a temporary difficulty as long as they are guaranteed that they will change the situation. It's one of the few countries in the world where it doesn't matter the economy of Germany. There will be never a mass exodus of Germans to other countries looking for better jobs. As we sit here, it is the engineering hub of the whole world. Go into mining. More than 40% of all the mining equipment used in the mining industry, it is made in Germany.
Yes.
Go into the technology industry, they are leading. Because they are always at home. They don't have option two. So all their minds are at improving the homeland.
Yes.
While others are applying for visas, Germans are on their desk, they are writing something down. What can I make and sell to improve my life and my country? When COVID-2 struck, it was Germany and the US that contributed to all the money by which Pfizer vaccine was distributed to Africa. It was Germany and the US government. France said, we are struggling ourselves. We can't help. More than $20 billion was donated for poor countries like Zimbabwe, Zambia, Mozambique, Malawi, including South Africa. They didn't pay for all the vaccine that they got to vaccinate their people. How do they afford that? Number one, they are proud of their identity. Number two, they have certain standards. I won't allow myself to be used for any job. I want to have dignity, even in my lowest of circumstances. I'm going to do something that makes me survive and thrive. But in the process of whatever I'm going to do, my dignity is not for sale. One of the biggest problems with Africa is we have convinced ourselves that whatever we are doing, we had no option.
Yes.
That is not true. 10 nurses and 10 doctors, when they were in Zimbabwe, they could sit down and contribute money and start a hospital, a small one, and grow it gradually. Now they go to England, they are told, you can't practice as a nurse. You have to do another 1 year or 2 years, bridging course, for you to practice as a registered nurse in the UK. And what are we getting at the end of the day? We are receiving coffins of dead Zimbabweans. The house you are building in Zimbabwe, who will live in that house? Last year I was very sad, Pastor. A certain man in Kenya built a 2-story house, but he was working in UK all his life. When he retired and went back to Kenya, he was so old he couldn't go upstairs to his house. So he died living on the ground floor. But he had built a house with a double story. He couldn't climb the stairs of his own house. Britain will suck your blood until you can't even live in the house you are so building in Africa. Why are you building a house in Africa? Why don't you build a house in England? So go and ask the airport authorities in Zimbabwe how many coffins of citizens they receive every year, and multiply that by the number of years that this diaspora nonsense came. All that we are going to end up with are receipts of monies you are sending your relatives through Western Union, World Remit. And most of the people you are sending money, they don't even appreciate you. After sending them 200 pounds, they are complaining you should have sent 500 pounds. They don't understand that you are toiling. You are working in a very difficult environment where you are not even appreciated. Some of you wake up every 2 hours to attend to a patient. By the time you go home, you can't even prepare a hot meal for yourself. You just sleep. My question is this an industry that has opened? An industry of carers, social workers. When are we going to decide that we are going to suffer? Of course, home is not in its good condition. It's in undeniable. But the option is not to leave. The option is to sit down, join hands with like-minded brothers and sisters. Start something that is so strong that it won't fall because of the existing economic pressures. When things get better, it is those that stayed home that are going to enjoy life in their own countries. When you come back, you are going to realize that you are going to be a stranger in your own country because things are changing.
Yes.
You don't understand the goings around anymore. So, please, you may curse me for as long as you want. I am not going to apologize for telling you that you are too honorable and too decent and too intelligent to convince yourself that the best thing you can do now with your life is to take a job of washing somebody's body for an indefinite period of time until you die. This is your greener pastures. It's not. You are simply a coward who is refusing to use what God has given you. Yes. There are other options, my dear, that have dignity. A proper wise person can do those things for not more than 5 years. In 5 years, you would have saved your money to give yourself some job that you are proud to tell your children. What is your job, mama? I change diapers of old people for a living. I'm sure there is not a single person who is proud of that job. You are proud of what you are getting from that job, but you are not proud of that job. What is so painful is that you are doing this job in a country where nobody likes you there. The government doesn't like Africans. The white people don't like Africans. They need us, but they don't like us.
Yes.
No. What causes you to stay in a house where you know they don't want you? Huh? Even if it's a visit, Elder Bishop, can you stay in a house after noticing that the people you visited don't like you there?
Definitely.
You will leave.
Yes.
Why do we constantly relocate to places where we are sure the people there don't like us? It's sad. It hurts people like me to watch videos where my people are being abused, and their argument is, let them abuse me, at least they give me my salary at the end of the day. Why are we applying this defeatist attitude? We can do better. I never said just buy a ticket and go home. There is a strategy. A prince will always use the right strategy.
Yes.
You first define what your life is going to be, what business you want to do, and then you go for it.
Yes.
I never said just stay at home and die of poverty. That's not true. We never said that.
Yes.
But definitely doesn't matter how things get bad. I can't give my sister money to go to the UK and do that job. I would rather cancel her and give her some ideas on how to make money in their own homeland. Where when you are entering into a supermarket, the cashier is of your own skin. She has no reason to look down upon you. When you go into a restaurant, you can sit anywhere. You don't have to look at where black people are sitting. Lest you sit around white people and all they do is they stand up and leave. We can sit around a smelling person. I don't know who told them that Africans smell bad. I don't think that is a correct diagnosis of the situation. So when you are in trouble and in poverty for too long, one of the things that happen as well is that you start to hate those who love you.
Yes.
You think they hate you because you've accepted the status quo. It's a difficult situation. Ukagara munhamo for too long, ukazvikomberedza nevanhu vakundwa nenhamo, unovenga munhu arida kukuburitsa munhamo nekuti unenge wakufunga kuti wakagarika. You understand?
Yes.
Yes. And for our brothers who are still in Africa, You must know that if you carry your wife to Europe, there is a 70% chance that your marriage will not last your lifetime.
Yes.
Because Europe is hostile for marriages, especially because African women are good at amplifying anything that they are excited about. They go above and beyond that which they are taught. They start partying above those people that they get there. Come back home to their husbands at 3 a.m. in the morning. And their arguments are, we have equal rights in this country. You can't tell me what time to come back home. But you are not a white person. Look at how the whites live. That's not a family. A family must have standards and rules. Yes. A child raised in a family must be decent. Their children are not decent.
Yes.
Because they've lost what it means to be in a family.
Yes.
So anybody who passes school and gets a certificate is planning to leave Africa, and their argument is there are no opportunities in Africa. Who will create those opportunities? It's us
Yes.
who must create those opportunities.
Yes. Yes.
So you can argue for all you can, but the truth is, this is not a job opportunity. This is exploiting yourself at the expense of your conscience for the sake of a short-term economical benefit. I want us to do a tete-a-tete and come back to conclude our message.